This evening, first up, your identity going digital. The Digital Identity Card Act is now in force, and Prime Minister Mark Phillips says it will change how every Guyanese accesses government services. Tonight, what does it mean for you? Then, no more queues at immigration. The government wants Guyanese travelers walking straight off their plane and out of CJIA through automated gates. The biometric future of the airport is closer than you think. Plus, a three-story apartment building reduced to ash in Alberttown. More than 40 residents, many of them foreign nationals, left with nothing but the clothes on their back. A mother of 3 is now pleading for help. Meanwhile, 5 Brazilian nationals caught mining illegally. They faced a magistrate, pleaded guilty, and were given 24 hours to leave the country. Authorities say the crackdown is just getting started. And President Donald Trump says he is heading to the Supreme Court personally over birthright citizenship. A ruling siding with him could strip millions of U.S.-born children of their citizenship. Tonight, a case with consequences for the world. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for April 1st, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a new era of digital convenience is beginning in Guyana, with citizens set to access government services faster and more securely under a nationwide digital ID system now officially in force. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips announced that the Digital Identity Card Act of 2023 took effect on March 31st, 2026, marking a major step in the government's push to modernize public services and improve efficiency.
This marks a major step forward in modernizing how the government serves you. The foundational requirements outlined in the Act have now been achieved. This includes the appointment of a Data Protection Commissioner, the implementation of a secure system and database for the capture and storage of your information, and the establishment of a robust system to produce and issue your digital ID cards.
This system will allow Guyanese to verify their identity electronically for a range of services, reducing paperwork, cutting processing times, and helping to prevent fraud. Initial registration will rely on basic information already held by state agencies, ensuring a smooth and familiar process for applicants. For persons wondering about the safety of their personal information, Prime Minister Phillips has assured that personal data protection remains a top priority, with more sensitive information collected only once full safeguards under the data protection framework are in place.
Your privacy remains our absolute priority. As we launch this registry, the government is working assiduously to establish the necessary mechanisms to bring the Data Protection Act into full effect. When that act comes into full force and effect, we will then request from you data of a more private and personal nature.
Registration offices have already been set up in several regions, with plans to expand nationwide.
In Region 2, at Cottonfield and Regina. Region 3, at the West Central Mall in Lenora. Region 4, at Craig Street, Campbellville. And Region 5, at Fort Wellington, West Coast, Berbice. Very soon, offices will be established in all other administrative regions.
The Digital ID initiative is expected to streamline transactions across sectors such as healthcare, finance, and public administration, as Guyana continues its broader digital transformation agenda. In other news, stepping off a plane and walking straight out of the airport without stopping at immigration could soon become reality for Guyanese travelers, as the government moves to introduce automated passenger identification at the Teddy Dragon International Airport. Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation DO.Indar announced that the new system will use biometric technology linked to the national EID card to recognize citizens on arrival, allowing them to pass through automated gates without manual checks. The initiative forms part of a wider push to modernize the airport and position Guyana as a regional aviation hub. Alongside the digital upgrade, major expansion works are underway at CJIA, including plans for a second terminal, with designs already completed and contractors mobilized. Minister Indar noted that Ghana's aviation sector is rapidly expanding, with the number of airlines growing from 4 to about 16 over the past 6 years, including international carriers such as American Airlines and Caribbean Airlines. He added that more airlines are expected as global interest in the sector increases. The government is also working to strengthen regional connectivity, including restoring routes affected by Leah's collapse and constructing new municipal airports in Berbice and Letem to support economic growth and cross-border travel, particularly with northern Brazil. Now to a heartbreaking story. A mother of 3 is pleading for assistance after a devastating fire on Tuesday evening left more than 40 residents, many of them foreign nationals, homeless after a 3-story apartment building at Cummins and 5th Street, Alberttown, Guyana, was completely destroyed.
My name is Norissa Henry. I am one of the victims at the fire at Alberttown, 5th Street last night. I didn't get to see anything, nothing at all. The fire started so fast and went so fast. So, lucky thing I was at home last night. And I didn't get to, and I didn't go to work because I didn't know what happened to my kids. Anyway, I still give God praise and thanks because we are here today.
The Ghana Fire Service responded shortly before 7 p.m. and battled intense flames for over an hour as the wooden structure was fully engulfed. Firefighters managed to prevent the blaze from spreading to nearby buildings, including commercial properties, limiting what could have been a far greater disaster. Many residents fled with only the clothes they were wearing, while others lost all personal belongings, including important documents. The mother of 3, who lost everything in the fire, is now appealing for assistance.
My big son here is about to write common entrance in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and he lost everything, all his textbooks, everything, clothes, everything, footwear, everything. So I'm airing this video to ask for any assistance possible. And I want to say thank you and God bless you.
If you would like to assist Miss Henry, you can contact her on 701-1779. The building, which was previously a school and later converted into apartments, reportedly housed 30 to 57 rooms occupied mainly by Cubans and Dominican Republic nationals. Displaced residents were seen distraught at the scene as emergency crew and police continue investigating the cause of the blaze, which remains unknown. Authorities have since confirmed that while the building was destroyed, nearby commercial premises were saved with minimal damage thanks to the swift response of firefighters. Stick around when we return. 60 miners fined as government intensifies crackdown on illegal mining, and 5 Brazilians arrested, order deported as crackdown on illegal mining intensifies.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. A swift multi-agency crackdown on illegal mining has resulted in the arrest and deportation of 5 foreign nationals as authorities intensify efforts to protect Ghana's natural resources. The Ministry of Natural Resources confirmed that the 5 Brazilian nationals were apprehended for illegal entry and mining following joint operations led by the Ghana Police Force and other agencies. The men appeared virtually before the Mali Magistrate's Court, where they pleaded guilty and were ordered to leave the country within 24 hours. The ministry said the action forms part of its ongoing nationwide campaign to eliminate illegal mining and enforce compliance with mining laws. Officials stressed that such activities pose serious environmental risks and undermine lawful operations. Authorities have warned that enforcement efforts will continue across all mining districts, with strict penalties for violations of the law. Staying with current events, 16 gold miners have been fined after pleading guilty to multiple breaches of the Mining Act as the Ministry of Natural Resources steps up enforcement efforts against illegal mining activities across Guyana. In a statement issued on March 31st, the Ministry of Natural Resources said the miners appeared before the Bartica and Madia Magistrates Court after being caught during enforcement operations by its Court of Wardens. The charges range from operating without a permit or license to using unregistered dredges and working on properties without permission. All 16 individuals pleaded guilty and were fined. The ministry said surveillance and enforcement activities are ongoing across mining districts, warning that those who violate mining laws will face legal consequences. Officials also highlighted the broader impact of illegal mining, noting that it contributes to environmental damage, poses risks to public health and safety, and undermines efforts to promote sustainable mining practices. Operators are being urged to comply fully with regulations. Don't go away after the break. Asian governments scramble to contain fuel costs amid the Strait of Hormuz crisis, and U.S. Secretary Council meeting. Members discuss deaths of peacekeepers in Lebanon.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening. Tonight, 3 Colombians face charges after Jamaica's largest cocaine seizure, worth over $1 billion Jamaican dollars. President Trump prepares for a Supreme Court battle over birthright citizenship. Global markets react to rising tensions in Iran. And the UN probe a deadly attack on peacekeepers in Lebanon. We begin in Jamaica. 3 Colombian nationals have been charged following what authorities describe as Jamaica's largest cocaine seizure, valued at about 1.7 billion Jamaican dollars or over 2.2 billion Ghana dollars. The men were arrested after a vessel was intercepted off St. Elizabeth, carrying over 6,000 pounds of cocaine in 99 bags. Police say the operation highlights ongoing efforts to disrupt drug trafficking networks. The accused are expected to appear in court on April 7th. U.S. President Donald Trump says he's likely to go to the Supreme Court personally on Wednesday for a birthright citizenship case. If the court rules in favor of the Trump administration, it could affect millions of U.S.-born children of parents who are not citizens. Al Jazeera's Patty Culhane explains the case.
Stop! Birthright citizenship!
Just the idea that the Supreme Court would weigh in on birthright citizenship, enough to draw early protests.
Birthright. That's a big one.
Getting rid of birthright citizenship was one of U.S. President Donald Trump's first executive orders in his second term.
We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know.
That actually is not true. This map shows 33 other countries that give citizenship to babies born on their soil, just like the United States has since 1868, when it passed the 14th Amendment. It reads, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States." It was passed to ensure the children of slaves would be considered American.
All the children.
The last time it was heard by the U.S. Supreme Court was when Norman Wong's great-grandfather was denied re-entry into the country, and he took his case there.
I hope the court will stand by what the court had done 128 years ago. Why should you disenfranchise anybody?
The Trump administration is going to make two arguments according to this brief: that children born to non-citizens are not subject to the jurisdiction because they do not owe it immediate allegiance, and they will argue the Wong Kim Ark decision doesn't apply because his parents were in the country legally. While the court will hear arguments on Wednesday, a decision is not expected for months. Around 250,000 children are believed to be born in the U.S. every year to parents that are not citizens. President Trump pushing to change the precedent and, in doing so, reshape what it means to be an American. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Geopolitical turmoil and soaring energy costs are rattling financial markets across Asia as governments scramble to address supply disruptions and economic fallout from the ongoing war in Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Al Jazeera's Patrick Fook reports.
Geopolitical turmoil and soaring energy costs continue to rattle financial markets. In Thailand, Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul arrived at Government House on Tuesday in his new electric vehicle to promote fuel savings as his cabinet weighs fuel tax cuts to ease price pressures. Across the region, governments are shifting policy to address supply concerns on the one hand and the economic fallout on the other. In South Korea, Korean Air says it will enter emergency management mode and implement cost efficiency measures to offset rising fuel costs from April. Meanwhile, the government is considering fiscal measures to protect the economy. President Lee Jae-myung also says South Korea must step up its response to energy disruptions.
This latest war in the Middle East has made it clear that the energy transition is no longer a national and historical task that can be postponed.
The uncertainty hit Seoul's Kospi index hard, ending the day down over 4%. Elsewhere, Japan and Indonesia agreed to step up coordination on energy security. That as Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi hosted Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto in Tokyo for talks.
Amid complex geopolitical dynamics, Indonesia and Japan must become part of the stability and solutions.
The summit comes as concerns grow about the widening disruption to oil and gas shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. And with no clear peace deal in sight, the focus for regional policymakers is on damage control and limiting the impact of rising energy costs on people. Patrick Falk, Al Jazeera, Singapore.
The UN Security Council has held an emergency meeting on the situation in Lebanon. It came hours after 3 peacekeepers were killed in the south of the country. The UN says it's investigating the attacks and perpetrators are yet to be identified. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo reports.
The killing of peacekeepers in Lebanon must stop immediately. That was the main message from Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the head of UN peacekeeping operations, during an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. He also told the Council the blue helmets in southern Lebanon are under intense duress, caught in the crossfire between Israel and Hezbollah.
Faced with immense pressure, including intensified exchanges of fire, direct attacks, obstructions of movement and resupply, UNIFIL continuously reassesses the force's posture to mitigate risks, strengthening force protection, reducing footprint and adjusting operational activities.
The UN says it's investigating the attacks that killed the 3 Indonesian peacekeepers and said the perpetrators have yet to be identified. Israel's ambassador to the UN told the Security Council Hezbollah was responsible, but provided no evidence to back up the claim, only saying it's a dangerous, active war zone, to which the Indonesian ambassador said this.
The current escalation did not arise in vacuum. It stems from repeated incursions by the Israeli military into the territory of Lebanon.
French personnel who work with the peacekeepers also are under attack.
Des incidents graves ont également été commis par Israël.
Grave incidents have also been committed by Israel against the French contingent in Nakura, and in particular against the head of the military force. Israeli soldiers have shown an aggressive attitude, carried out intimidation, and attacked the security of the personnel of the French contingent at a time when deconfliction procedures had been duly respected.
Avaient été dûment respectés.
The UNIFIL peacekeeping mission was established in Lebanon in 1978, but last year the Security Council voted to wind down its operations, and a withdrawal is expected to begin in January. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera at the United Nations in New York. Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-event forecast. And that's the TV2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.